Police busted down the door at GloRilla's Memphis home after responding to a burglary call. But what they found inside was way more shocking than a break-in. And just when fans thought it couldn't get messier, gospel singer and pastor Deitrick Haddon finally broke his silence. And what he said left everyone stunned. You're not going to believe how these two worlds just collided and what it means for GloRilla's future. When police were called to GloRilla's Memphis residence for what seemed like a standard burglary report, no one, not even the officers, expected the night to take a sharp left turn. Reports quickly began swirling across social media. Rumors of illegal substances, people in cuffs, and shocking discoveries that the public was never meant to know. And just as the internet began buzzing with questions and outrage, gospel icon, Pastor Deitrick Haddon dropped a response that threw even more fuel on the fire. Now, we're peeling back the layers of this tangled situation, the surprising connection between a rap superstar and a respected pastor, how it all went down behind closed doors, and what it means for both their reputations going forward. Trust me, you won't believe the twist in this story, especially when we break down exclusive insider details, police reports, and public statements that weren't covered in the headlines. Stay with us because in just a moment we're diving deep into everything you weren't told about the raid, the arrest, and Pastor Haddon's unexpected message to the world. This is where it gets real and messy. Late last week, chaos erupted in Memphis when police stormed the home of rapper GloRilla following a 911 call that reported a possible burglary in progress. But when officers arrived on the scene, it quickly became clear that this wasn't your typical break-in. According to law enforcement sources, when police entered the property, they found several individuals inside the home who initially claimed they were house guests. But inconsistencies in their stories immediately raised suspicion. Officers reported strong odors, suspicious packaging, and what they described as unauthorized activity happening inside the residence. Within minutes, backup was called, and what began as a burglary investigation quickly escalated into a full-blown raid. Several people were detained at the scene, and while GloRilla herself was reportedly not home during the initial sweep, she was later brought in for questioning after returning to the house, unaware of the situation unfolding in real time. What's even more disturbing, authorities discovered items they claim are being tied to an ongoing criminal investigation. Though they haven't publicly released full details yet, speculation is flying with some insiders suggesting this could be linked to past associations GloRilla has tried to distance herself from, and the timing couldn't be worse. GloRilla has been on the rise, celebrated for her breakout hits and unapologetic attitude. But now, with headlines branding her home a crime scene, her entire career could be hanging in the balance. But just when people thought the drama couldn't get deeper, a completely unexpected name entered the chat. And that's when Pastor Deitrick Haddon made his move. In a move that shocked both his followers and GloRilla's fans, Pastor Deitrick Haddon, Grammy-nominated gospel artist, controversial church leader, and reality TV star, didn't hold back when addressing the situation. Within hours of the news going viral, Pastor Haddon took to his social media platforms with a bold, unfiltered message that left people divided. You can't play both sides. Either you're going to walk in purpose or you're going to get dragged by the world's chaos. GloRilla's situation ain't just about her. It's about a generation being misled by fame and forgetting their foundation, he said in a now viral video. Haddon didn't mention GloRilla by name at first, but the message was clear. He emphasized how artists today are being consumed by fame, riches, and reckless associations, which he called spiritual traps that ultimately destroy their lives. What made his response even more controversial? He pointed the finger not just at the hip-hop community, but also at the Black church, accusing pastors of remaining silent instead of reaching out when they see artists spiraling. Where are the leaders? Where are the ones who were supposed to mentor these young people before the streets claimed them? GloRilla is not the first, but if we keep ignoring them, she won't be the last, Haddon declared. The backlash was swift. Some fans praised his boldness, saying he was speaking the truth others were too afraid to voice. Others slammed him for clout chasing during someone else's lowest moment. But regardless of where people stood, no one could deny the impact of his words. And behind the scenes, insiders say this wasn't just a random message. Haddon reportedly has ties to a former associate of GloRilla, which could explain why this hit so close to home. People are now questioning whether there's more to his reaction than just spiritual concern. Was he warning her or exposing her? While the internet exploded with reactions, interviews, and sermons from every direction, GloRilla herself remained eerily silent. No tweets, no Instagram stories, no statements, just complete digital silence. And for someone as vocal and bold as GloRilla, that said a lot. But insiders close to her circle say this silence wasn't out of fear. It was a strategic move. Her legal team and management immediately advised her to say nothing until they could figure out the full scope of the fallout. A source claimed she was stunned. She didn't expect the backlash to hit this hard. According to reports, several of her upcoming brand deals were put on pause, including a rumored partnership with a major fashion label that wanted to feature her in a campaign centered on women empowerment. Not only that, but a few gospel artists who had shown support for her previously quickly began deleting posts or unfollowing her after the scandal erupted. Behind the scenes, her team was in full damage control mode, holding meetings, reworking PR strategies, and consulting with image consultants and legal experts. This wasn't just about saving her career. This was about saving her reputation. And let's not forget the church community who had slowly started to warm up to GloRilla after she began publicly mentioning God and even performed at a few gospel-adjacent events. That budding support, it quickly started to unravel. She tried to walk in both worlds. One church figure posted anonymously. And now she's realizing you can't serve two masters. Despite all the chaos swirling around her, GloRilla was seen in Los Angeles just days later, surrounded by her security team wearing dark shades and a hooded jacket. Paparazzi screamed her name. Fans asked for photos, but she didn't utter a single word. No statement has been issued from her publicist, no press release, and still no apology or clarification. This has left fans divided. Some are defending her, saying she's being judged too harshly for one mistake. Others are demanding accountability, especially after seeing the footage and Pastor Haddon's viral reaction. Even more shocking, a major entertainment insider hinted that GloRilla is working on a track that addresses the situation subtly but directly. If true, this could be her way of reclaiming the narrative or fanning the flames. Will she speak out publicly, or will she let the music do the talking? As the GloRilla controversy continued to burn across social media, the most unexpected aftershock hit where no one expected, inside the walls of the church. From pulpit to pew, everyone had something to say. And what started as a debate online quickly became a full-blown civil war within the gospel and Christian community. Some well-known gospel artists and church leaders quickly distanced themselves from both GloRilla and Deitrick Haddon, demanding public accountability and repentance. One megachurch pastor who requested to remain unnamed didn't hold back during a live stream. We are living in a time where wolves come dressed in sheep's clothing. When you allow the profane to step on holy ground without discernment, this is what you get: embarrassment, disgrace, and confusion. Even respected gospel artists like Tasha Cobbs, Leonard, and Tamala Mann were dragged into the controversy, not for participating, but for remaining silent. Fans flooded their comment sections demanding they speak out or draw the line. It became clear that this wasn't just about GloRilla anymore. It was about the image of the church itself. Meanwhile, several younger preachers and worship leaders came to GloRilla's defense, suggesting that the church should be more welcoming and forgiving, not judgmental. One young pastor from Atlanta went viral after saying, "Jesus sat with sinners. He didn't judge them." If GloRilla walked into your church, would you minister to her or turn her away at the door because of how she dresses or dances? Let's not forget where we all came from. The clash became generational. Older pastors and traditional gospel fans wanted strict separation between secular influence and church purity. But the younger generation, many of whom grew up on hip-hop and were familiar with GloRilla's music, saw this as an opportunity for bridge building and outreach. The tension wasn't limited to words. Some churches went as far as canceling their planned events with Deitrick Haddon, citing that they could not support someone who endorsed disrespect toward the sacred. "We love Deitrick, but he got this one wrong big time," one choir director shared. "He's forgotten who his audience is." And then just when it couldn't get more intense, screenshots began circulating of church groups, fan forums, and even ministry boards debating whether Christian spaces should ban artists like GloRilla altogether. It was no longer a question of taste. It was a spiritual battleground. But perhaps the biggest question of all, Has this controversy done irreversible damage to GloRilla's crossover image into faith-based circles? Or can she somehow find redemption, either through an apology or a deeper conversation? After all the heat, the headlines, and the holy backlash, the biggest question lingering in the air was, where do GloRilla and Deitrick Haddon go from here? Can their careers recover? Will the church forgive and forget? Or is this the final nail in the coffin for gospel's uneasy flirtation with hip-hop culture? Let's start with GloRilla. In the immediate aftermath, GloRilla went quiet. No response, no clap back, not even a cryptic tweet. Her silence was deafening and strategic. Her team, according to insiders, went into full damage control, reportedly canceling a few church-centered appearances and reworking her PR rollout for